considering how many America's teams we had make it to the elimination stage, not having a complexity, not having a Furia, not having a Pain, not having any of those, America's teams in the playoffs. Our region's got to step up.
Estamos con Moses, uno de los casters más importantes en la escena de Counter-Strike, y vamos a hablar sobre cómo fue el Major y cómo está viviendo esta gran final. Moses, first of all, have you been enjoying the different matches we have? This has been a spectacular Major so far for being the first of Counter-Strike 2.
We got all the teams we would have wanted in the top 8 in the playoffs, and I mean, the playoffs delivered so much, like the overtime games, just the intensity of the matches, kind of players that have been stepping up and performing well. I think everything's gone perfect, so you couldn't have hoped for a better playoffs than what we've gotten so far today.
Well, that's really interesting because, for example, I think that the FaZe versus Spirit match was so far the best match, but I think that these finals will give us a lot of emotions. What do you think has been the best match so far, and what do you expect for this match?
I'm with you. I think the FaZe Spirit game was really, really exciting and really cool, and just delivering in the sense that Spirit was almost like a hands-down favorite, especially the way FaZe looked in the group stage. And I like that FaZe lived up to the hype of like a team that just changes and gets better once they hit the playoffs. I think Navi's run has been incredible for different reasons. I think the Navi G2 game in the semifinals was really, really good for a lot of reasons. The comeback on Ancient, obviously, that just failed right at the end. FaZe Spirit and the G2 Navi, I think you can't really mess with those.
What do you think about the new players and these old players that are retaining their titles and showing that they still have something to prove?
I think it's really cool that FaZe still has, you call them like the old guard, even though they have some young players as well, but like Rops is, still young but very experienced for what he is. I think it's great seeing someone like Kerrigan and someone like Rain with the experience they have. They seemingly just get better throughout the event. And it's been interesting because on the other side of it, you have G2 and all the experience of guys like Nico and Hunter, and they really struggled in this event. So I think you're seeing different players adapt and struggle in different ways. We got a preview of it in that semifinal with G2 and Navi. Wonderful versus Monesi. Yeah. Monesi is, for my money, he's the best player we have in CS2. And I think we're going to see more of that, of these new, younger players able to adapt a little bit quicker. And I'm just excited for like the younger players to catch up because they play a different style of Counter-Strike and they're going to bring a different look to Counter-Strike than we've had in the past. I think the professional environment we have and like all the mental coaches that are in the teams and just like the increased focus on like your health and how you kind of treat yourself, your body and your mind for competition is going to help some players stay longer. When CSGO kind of came out, you saw some of those old guards stick around for like 3-4 years before we really started seeing them get shuffled out of the system. I think that's going to be so much faster in CS2. I think with the increased professionalism also comes the increased expectation of performance. Yeah. And I think you're going to see those players tossed out a lot faster if they're not keeping up, if they're not up to par.
What has been your surprise of the tournament? A team that is not here, or even if it's playing here, and what has been your disappointment of the tournament?
For me, the biggest surprise has got to be Navi. I didn't expect this roster to be able to make it to the finals at all. You got to give credit over to Alexi, like what he's been able to do with the roster. Wonderful popping off. JL being a revelation in what kind of a ceiling he can provide. And I think probably in terms of a disappointment, G2, although obviously with some of the struggles they've kind of had, they haven't had the placings that made you think they could go all the way. Still a disappointment for me in how they kind of struggled to get Nico and Hunter activated in the semifinal. Considering how many America's teams we had make it to the elimination stage, not having a complexity, not having a Furia, not having a Pain, not having any of those, America's teams in the playoffs, our region's got to step up.
But thank you very much, Moses, for everything, and thanks a lot.